Good day to you. I'm the homeless CEO, Kanika Patterson, and it's some stuff on my mind. I'm gonna take my time with this one here. Not gonna rush myself. My spirit is all is well for me. It's just the obstacles that are put in place for Black female founders is really astronomical, and it is amplified in the state of Tennessee. I am the homeless CEO. I tell the stories of poverty, and I have a real story to tell. And I know initially the stories come from my lived experience, and not even just my lived experience. I have several female founders spread across different states, not just in Tennessee. There's two of us here that I know of that are experiencing retaliation, blackballing, silencing of an already silenced voice, which is the voice of poverty. There was a meeting, a couple of meetings, and what I do, I'm not a person that talks right off. Like if I'm in a meeting, I'm observing. And what I do observe from being in those two meetings, they were back to back for one of them I slipped upon because someone sent me the information. I otherwise could not find it, or it was not on my radar, and I keep track of those things. But it's like the meeting was hidden. The information, especially in Tennessee, is often hidden from mainstream people finding it. There were some comments made. I'm going to go with the first meeting first. And it was a coalition that has been built and is a part of Metro Council, or the mayor's office, however you want to phrase it. And it's a room full of people. I only see a couple of little specks in the mix, but it was, first of all, the first thing I observed is how controlled the meeting is. Second thing I observed was the need for more equitable and diverse, that's the way I'm gonna be able to put it, on the ground, lived experience, expertise, okay? Because you have a crisis that's coming up. Then you have a group of female founders that have the solution to fast, affordable housing. So that's the first meeting. I let my services be known, which for months, years, months leading up to this moment, myself and others have been screaming out, listen to us. But because of what took place, I've already told this story on my vlog. You can go back and look at it on the Homeless CEO YouTube page. But I told my story of racism here in Tennessee. And so stemming back all the way to where I was an organizer for Homes for All Nashville, and it's dissolved, so I don't have any problem mentioning where I used to be the lead organizer or I was the first hired organizer, foundational, like from jump, and I volunteered first, then to paid. I had no idea I was a token until, along with the steering committee, I joined the financial team, and all the stuff hit the fan at that point once we started questioning finances. If that tells you anything, I'm going to leave it at that. But before, when I was the black token and being a good little black girl, you hear me? I could be in every meeting, no funny looks, no nothing. I could speak, had a voice, as long as they said so, as long as I was a good girl, as long as I'm good, until I was not, right? And it wasn't just me by myself. One of the tenants that was passed off to me was done the same way, and also served in a volunteer capacity while serving the group that caused yet another homelessness for her. So both of us have been chronically homeless. Both of us experience disabilities, especially, man, after, for sure, I've had a couple of wrecks, and following what happened to my brother being murdered in Tennessee, North Nashville, I am positive that I have remnants of PTSD. You see what I'm saying? Amongst other things that have been a diagnosis along the way. And as a Christian, not that I claim that, but it is a reality. Okay, not speaking it on myself, none of that, but it truly is a reality that visits, period, that I send to the pits of hell simultaneously. You know, you could be more than one thing at once. You know, people just try to put people in a box, and I just don't think like that. And I teach my children outside of a matrix that limits you. I don't believe in the word can't. Just not it's never been a option or in my vocabulary. I guess that's how I was raised. And it was instilled, and I'm instilling it even 10 times harder into them. But the second meeting, what I felt from the second meeting, and it was a meeting about funding, what I heard was virtually all the renewed projects will go forth. That's just kind of an automatic, because they don't expect any new projects to be able to understand the system, for one, or the 25% match will stumble them up as well, and they're counting on you not being able to navigate or be able to fill out the paperwork, things of that nature. From what I heard in the room yesterday, and we were asking questions about the match, the 25% match that you have to have, and I was not aware that you can have services donated or whatever the case may be. It does not necessarily have to be cash, and I was led to believe that if I did not have 25% cash to match the grant, that I may as well not even try. So these are the same line of people that stem from the same ones that have blackballed me and others in the city of Nashville and Tennessee, period. Same clique, let's say, because I know all the players from being in the organization. I saw how the inner workings worked, and who was who, what's what, and it's a beast that's deep, and it just resides like normal in our states. And I'm positive Tennessee's not the only one. I can only speak on what's going on here. But it's pretty disgusting to see the same groups get the money, the funding to help house homeless people, but you see for a fact that it's not helping anything. It's just continually giving them generational wealth. But you want to stipulate my application as a new project to the T, and I need to have my I's dotted and my T's crossed, but the entities serving and providing these grants don't even know what they're doing themselves. So how is that a fair competition? It's not. Not one bit, it's not. So, and I want to know what technical assistance means if you're not helping me navigate to fill this application out that you say is so hard to fill out. You don't expect my black self to understand, because that's deeply rooted in Tennessee. My children and I were reading Jemima Jones' book about the story of the Jubilee Singers, and it was telling how in Tennessee they expected the slaves to basically look down, do not look at them in the eyes. They do not expect them to be capable of reading, writing, or anything intelligent. And that mindset has traveled all the way to 2021. I've experienced it back in 2016, where I was broken to my core at the gaslighting and racism that I experienced. And I had to put myself back together like Humpty Dumpty, for real, because I kept trying to be accountable for something someone else was creating. And it about drove me crazy. I almost lost my mind back then. And thank God I was able to cut the strings and detach from that. Because guess what? It would have took me out of here. That's one of the ways. And there was two more ways that it was an attempt on my life. But I've been getting that since birth, so it's expected for what I'm meant to carry out. So if you go through rough things like that and you feel like, oh my God, I'm so defeated, detach, heal yourself, come back greater, like a phoenix out of the ashes, and do not let people stop what your purpose and dream is. The purpose for rehousing people for me lives in my belly, and I travail. My whole body was vibrating the other day before these meetings, and I was like, I can't tell nobody that because they don't think I'm absolutely bat nut crazy. But look at this. Look at this cross on my face. You hear me? On purpose. What I'm meant to do, and I know my purpose. I know who I am, what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm working on that daily. Whether you see me post about it or not, I am underground working and building a foundation. I'm working on a building with a strong foundation. You know the rest of that old school hymn. For my Lord, you hear me? So I be having some folks trying to attack me. Just know at the core is so many more people trying to attack me. So not only that, is so many of us that look just like me that perpetuate the silence and the the muting of a person. How do you have a job at wherever you have a job at, and you are complicit in helping these people silence them just to keep your position and stay in good standing? Be a good little black token. You feel me? Not cool. Not cool at all. So I'm gonna fill out this information like I have no choice but to. And then as I was going through the packet, it's not as hard as it was explained to be. Imagine that. If I wouldn't have, I could have just gave up. I felt so defeated yesterday, and my comrade had to break it down to me. No, it could be in, it doesn't have to be monetary. It could be assets. It could be services. Why did they not lead with that? Because it's the same old. You want the same old people to keep getting funds. You do not want to hear the people that are greatly affected by life experience to do and provide and help in building. We deserve to be able to have a say what happens to our state and cities just as well as anyone else, because guess what? I go bust my ass at work, so I pay taxes. I'm a constituent that votes. So therefore, we have the right to say what happens with our cities. Then what you see that's really messed up is how they invite so many outsiders in to do what the people on the ground here are doing and need to be paid for. But we can't access that money because you hide the processes from us unless you can get in where you fit in with somebody or be in the good graces of someone, just like me. How I'm out of the good graces because I didn't continue to be a good little token and keep my fan club. I had a whole fan club. Every last one of them ducked out when the person told them to, or the man, whoever you want to call it, whoever is the one controlling, which I got a good idea of who that is, because they got people planted everywhere, and it's all about them getting to the money and keeping it generationally. And one thing I kept hearing the original steering committee members say is how affluent they were, and they were not in poverty. So, and you claim you wasn't here to be a white savior. Yes, you were. I should have heard the very opposite. And like I was telling my colleague, that I felt the worst murderous spirit before I got with these people, and they attempted on my life 3 different ways: mentally, physically, emotionally. If you listen to the stories that I got up on the Homeless CEO Poverty Storyteller, oh my Jesus, and I ain't even saying no names so far. I am going to start exposing people. My comrade has, and she always brings it like that, and I'm not mad at her. I totally understand. We have to amplify our voices. We have to yell because you are constantly trying to silence us. So, like she said, hashtag housing me too. Because I have some stories of how I was blocked from getting supportive housing because of people just wanting to say you don't qualify, and it clearly states in your paperwork that you do. People need people to mediate for them in between that. Because if both of us were tossed around like we were as advocates, I can imagine the people that don't even know their rights, what's happening to them. And that's what we're here to do. So why block the funding? And it's this vicious cycle of I can't get funded because I can't get funded because I can't get funded because I can't get funding. You hear me? Like, where does it ever start? And me, I had a whole $10,000 scholarship I won. It was at the top of COVID. I had a sick baby. I couldn't get there, so it forfeited the money that I won from my organization. And I later saw one of those characters. You feel what I'm saying? From the ones that mute and blackball me. I know the attendance was mandatory, but it should have been a little bit more lax at the top of COVID, because I could have brought something to the people if I would have made it there. You know what I'm saying? Like, just precaution wise. And then you later see one of the culprits in a picture at the same thing that you just won the money and got forfeited for not being able to make it. A person in poverty. I asked for transportation prior to, a long time before it was mandatory to get there, I asked for transportation assistance. Nobody ever got back to me with that, so I missed it. And furthermore, I wouldn't have been able to go anyway because my baby had a bad fever. And no telling at the top of COVID what was up with her. Praise God, she was okay. It was my baby, my last child. So just, man, I'm feeling some type of way. So we are building with Tura, the Ultimate Resource Hub. We are doing apprenticeships, a learning center first, and we provide temp to permanent housing with shipping containers. So if you could donate towards that cause, you could go to faithcommunityincorporated.com and donate. You could donate through visionairiesincorporated.org. Either of those two, and I'll make sure the funds get to Faith Community Inc. because that's what we agreed upon, that the funds go through them. So feel free to donate to faithcommunityinc.com. And we gotta get past this. And I was just talking to another founder of how a male founder, he's black, and how we get no love in our own hometown. That story is in the Bible, talking about Jesus, no love in his own hometown. It's pretty messed up, and there's so many people that can actually help. I'm a participant in Safe Haven's transitional housing program, and still I get those moments where I'm asking to collaborate and partner with something that's so huge. We're doing shipping containers. Those can be built in 3 to 4 weeks, and they are actually affordable. The real definition of affordable. And so me telling you this and it being disconnected and me being silenced because of whatever, because somebody told you to, I don't care what the case is, it should not be that. It ain't about us outshining you. I could give a care less. It's about housing the people, and I've been one of those people literally 4 times. My comrades have been those people. They have been on the verge of it if they've never experienced it, and they have an empathy for that, and an empathy for poverty, because they've experienced that too. They've experienced being drug addicts and drug dealers, whatever. A lived experience. But please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube, The Homeless CEO. Blessings upon everyone. Thank you.